case. All right, Alan, you can go now.
Okay.
You can
Well, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:02. And Tammy, would you like to do the roll call, please?
Certainly. Mr. Sherwood.
Here.
Mr. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Cadwallader.
Here.
Mrs. Cole.
Here.
Mr. Laswell.
Here.
Mrs. Humphrey.
Here.
And Mrs. Hanks.
Here.
All right. Sounds like we have a full group, and glad. I wish I could see, but I'll have to figure that one out. I'm not too electronic savvy, but anyway, we'll nice to have everybody here, and we'll jump on to public participation.
It does not look like we have any public on the meeting, and we also received no emails.
Okay. All right.
I know the dog's not me, but I'm going to go ahead and mute. Maybe everybody should.
I'm going to mute because my dog's barking.
Okay.
We're really interested in hearing. Okay, we'll go along to the agenda reviews. Anybody have any changes they would like to make, add, or delete for tonight? All right. Moving right along, we'll go to the consent agenda. The approval of the minutes of the April 27th regular session meeting and the approval of the bills. And we need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and a second.
I'll second. Mark will.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about the minutes or the approval of the bills?
Was that Gary that made the motion? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All right. Doesn't sound like we have any. So all in favor of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Brings us to the next section of we need to adjourn to sign and die, and we need a motion.
Colleen moved.
Colleen, okay, and we need a second.
Ron seconds.
All right. All right, Tammy, you need a roll call vote, please.
Sorry. Mr. Sherwood.
Yes.
Mr. Gross.
Yes.
Mr. Cadwallader.
Yes.
Mrs. Cole.
Yes.
Mr. Laswell.
Yes.
Mrs. Humphrey.
Yes.
And Mrs. Hanks.
Yes.
Okay. Well, here we are at the once-a-year reorganization and election of the officers for the Board of Trustees. So we need to have somebody, I don't have my notes, my cheat sheet here, but we need to have somebody make a motion to have a president pro temp. And anybody would like to step up and do that?
Can he just appoint one?
Oh, okay. Well, if I can appoint one, how about I'll just appoint Gary to do it. Would you like to do that, Gary?
I suppose.
Okay, don't sound so excited.
Yeah. Okay, what are we doing then? We ask for nominations?
I think at this time you would ask
Yep.
for a nomination for president.
President. Do I have a nomination for president?
Make sure I'm right. not that I wanted to be nominated, but I'm just saying, I think Mark will give
Yeah,
us a heads
I
up if I'm
think.
doing this right.
Yeah.
Unless he's
I
muted, then he'll ignore us.
I nominate Alan Sherwood.
Colleen second.
All right. All right. Do we have any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none, we should just move to vice president? Or do we vote now?
No, you can just make a slate.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do I have a nomination for vice president?
Who's currently vice president?
I am.
Well, I nominate Gary.
Okay.
Colleen seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay. All right. Do we have a nomination for treasurer?
I nominate Ron.
I'll second.
All right.
That was Alan.
Colleen
Alan.
said it, and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. And finally, secretary. Do we have a nomination for secretary?
Again, the $1,000 question, who's currently secretary?
I am.
Colleen.
Oh, we're all speaking up.
Yeah,
No,
don't
I-
everybody's.
Colleen is secretary.
I nominate
Colleen.
Okay. All right. Well, we have a slate now. Can we vote on the entire slate at once?
Who seconded?
Oh, I second it.
Well, are you sure?
I can second it if you don't know. That's fine.
All
I
right.
guess I'm supposed to ask everybody if they would like to continue, I suppose. But
Yeah. Anybody object to continuing?
nope.
No.
I
Okay.
don't hear any no.
All right. So do we just vote on the entire slate or separately?
You can do a motion
I-
for the entire slate.
I was going to say, I'll make a motion to vote on the slate of officers presented.
Okay. Well, we have our motion. Does anybody second it?
I'll second it. This is Ellen.
Okay. All right. Can we do a voice vote or does this have to be a roll call vote?
We'll do a roll call.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Sherwood,
Yes.
Mr. Gross,
Yes.
Mr. Cadwallader,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Laswell,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphrey,
Yes.
and Mrs. Hanks.
Yes.
Okay. The yeses have it. Do we have a motion to return from Sine DA?
So move.
Colleen
I'll
seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
And Colleen.
Okay. Mr. Sherwood,
Here, yes. Sorry.
Mr. Gross,
Yes.
Mr. Cadwallader,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Laswell,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphrey,
Yes.
and Mrs. Hanks.
Yes.
Okay. That's unanimous. So we've returned. Do you feel any
All
different?
Things are so different now. Okay. Go ahead, Alan.
Okay. No, I feel great. Thank you very much, everybody. And let's have another, well, up till a few months ago, let's have another year like we had, and hopefully continue on. Okay, well, we'll move right along to the treasurer's report. And Ron, anything to add?
I don't have anything to add above and beyond what's in the packet.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much. And we'll move right along to Gina and the director's report.
In your packet was my director's report. I don't particularly have anything to add to it this month. If you have questions about some of the email updates I've sent, please let me know. Bring it up now if you like. Or if you have questions about anything else in the packet, let me know. Minus the budget part, we'll do that when we get to discussion items. Were there questions other than the budget? Were there questions from my report or the other updates you've been receiving?
Yeah, I was kind of curious if you're getting any feedback from the public on whether we're, providing type service or not.
We've gotten some questions. We've answered all the questions we've received, particularly those online and those by the email. We do get questions as to when, and then I explain basically what, our statements have been on our website and things like that. And don't get much after that. I'd get some thank yous or, okay, we're looking forward to it and things like that. There have been a couple comments on timeline that perhaps are posed as questions, but maybe aren't questions per se, although we answer them too. But for the most part, the public's been very patient with us. I think they've been very understanding so far. Is that kind of what you're asking? Okay. I mean, we've had, the questions that we get on Facebook, you guys all can see too when you follow us and things like that. I've gotten some other emails and answered them all directly. But mostly everybody, thank you for responding. Okay, good to know. We look forward to seeing you again. I mean, for the most part, I've been pleasantly surprised at how patient and understanding everybody has been, and very appreciative of that as well. So, I mean,
Well, that's very good to hear.
As board members, have you received any questions directly that are you getting feedback differently than I'm getting feedback?
No,
Okay.
no, I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
Hey,
Um,
Gina, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Colleen.
So I read in this morning's paper that Pekin is doing a thing called a reader's advisory.
Mm-hmm.
Do we do anything like that, or could we? Will we?
So when readers advisory is essentially when people ask for recommendations or suggestions on books based on what they like. We've done that all along. We do that with patients. Sorry, wrong mindset here. Patrons. By phone and email and things like that whenever we're asked. I know our two adult services and youth services manager are going to put together they're putting together like a specific online form for that as well. We've always kind of handled that a little less formally because it's good to have kind of a back and forth Q&A with someone to kind of help guide that information that you need from them in order to hopefully make good selections for them. But since we'll be doing everything online and things like that, they are working on a form. We'll make sure we have it ready for when we can actually start taking those kind of requests again.
So when you say a form, you're talking about where people can give information about what they like, submit it
Yeah,
to...
something they can fill out online. We can.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, something they can fill out online. If not, a lot of these questions are questions that our staff ask people when they call and ask about books anyway. It's just kind of writing them out so they can type the answers instead of talk about them. So yeah, they're putting some. Laura, our new youth services manager, because we also have Laura, the adult services manager, which is super confusing right now. Brought some recommendations from the library that they had done one at her library where she was at before, and so she already kind of had it base started. So they're working on it together so that maybe we can have one form regardless if it's children's or adults or things like that. So they're putting that together, and we'll be able to put that up to where it just kind of shoots it in an email. They'll fill out a form online, but I think it'll just come to us as an email. Like that data would come to us as an email.
Okay. Well,
so yeah.
I'm one who likes to come in and browse, and if I can't do that, I really like this idea of a reader's guide, and the form sounds like a good idea. So
yeah, and if somebody, people can call and they'll ask kind of the same questions, or they can fill out the form while somebody's on the phone, so they don't have to have a computer in order to complete the form. We'll just complete the form on their behalf. So
okay, good, thanks.
Thank you. Other questions?
Gina?
Yes.
Yeah. Gina, have you had trouble finding cleaning supplies or masks, or do you have some pretty good sources where to draw those from?
We're getting there. I have like I will continue to try to find hand sanitizer. I get to go to Menards and buy 3 bottles at a time, and then a couple days later I go buy 3 more bottles, and then one day I did it twice.
Oh.
I went out and came back and did it again. Shh. So but I feel like we have enough hand sanitizer on staff, to be safe here amongst our staff and things like that. Do I have enough hand sanitizer if I wanted to let the public in? No. We can't seem to find the freestanding hand sanitizer holder squirter outer things. You know what I'm talking about? When you walk in a store and you can wave your hand underneath, and versus little bottles that sit around and get moved and misplaced and things like that. We wanted to get those. We're having a really hard time finding those. I think we do have enough cleaning supplies right now for the stage that we're in. Wipes are hard to come by, but we also have now a supply of shop towels, like the nicer cloth kind of shop towels that'll hold up as you're rubbing and scrubbing and all that, and like spray disinfectants that would put on the towel, kind of like DIY wipe, you know.
Right.
So all of our staff will be given a cloth mask as well. And I have, for when we have staff that are working directly with patrons or the drop box, so this would be at the drive-through window or the drop box, I also have been able to come up with about 500 of the paper disposable kind of ones. Those aren't as easy to come by. Hand sanitizer is not easy to come by. But we're at about 500 of those, and I think that'll get us going for quite a while. We're going to it's not going to be one person goes up and that person's going to be assigned to that space for a while to help kind of keep that kind of mask usage within what we can do with what we have. I'm trying to think what else. I have ordered from a glass company over in Peoria as far as the plexiglass dividers and stuff, so that they will be done and ready for when the time comes, for the service desks and things like that. And I still think we're a bit out as far as I have some concerns about being able to keep up if we were to let the general public back in the building right now, keeping up with the cleaning and keeping up with that kind of stuff. So I think we're still a little ways off from that. And then there's also plexiglass ordered for the drive-through window as well, so that if you've been through McDonald's, you can see where they now hand out like a whole, like this big, you know. We'll take care of that way to help protect our staff.
I'd say I think that you have everything very well covered, and speaking for myself, I think the pace that you're going and how you're making the plans, I think is right up there, and I'm looking forward to the day when we can open, but in the meantime, I think you're all doing the necessary precautions to plan when that day comes. So I think everything's doing very well right now.
Okay, thank you.
So anybody else have any questions? Okay, well, we'll move along to library statistics, communication, and correspondence.
I don't think we did receive a very nice letter. I'll share it down the line with you sometime. It was directed to me and the staff, not necessarily to the board. We have a patron who's moving away and sent us a very nice letter, and I did share that with the staff as well. But someday I'll share it with you guys too. But it wasn't something that I'm not keeping it from you. But it just occurred to me that it'd be nice for you guys to see that. Take your stats with a grain of salt this month. We are still working on how do we count our virtual programs, and how do we there's some guidance from the state libraries how those need to be counted farther down the line, but we didn't get that right away, and we might have to shore them up a little bit later. But otherwise, stats are in there, and of course, just kind of scary, right?
Right.
But so, were there any questions about them? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll move along to, thank you. We'll move along to the budget. And Gina, would you like to share?
So in your director's
Findings and-
report, I did put so you do have the draft working budget in your packet. This is the first draft for fiscal year 2021, which starts July 1st. Normally in June, we approve the following fiscal year's working budget. So this is the first draft. The next one for approval would be next month. I felt it was better if I could give the things that I felt I needed to tell you about that in writing, so you had a chance to review them ahead of time and bring your questions and things like that, rather than just spring all that on you and be like, so what do you want to know? That being said, I would like, presuming everybody had a chance to read through that, some feedback regarding what I put in there, as far as some of the assumptions that I had when I made it, and some other things that were asked to be considered. So, particularly, let's see here. Well, related with income, I felt like I took a pretty conservative approach with it. I'm a little nervous about the tax collections. I know that they haven't necessarily said that there's going to be any sort of relief, and people don't have to pay them, but I'm assuming, given the state of the economy, that perhaps they're not going to collect everything they think that they actually send bills out for. I was not in a director. I wasn't actually even at the public library when 2008 ran around. So there are some board members on staff who have been through the last big downturn, and then I had put some presumptions or assumptions and regarding expenses, and I need to know if the board also agrees with those presumptions / assumptions, or if there are different thoughts I need to take when I build this in order to bring you back something to pass. And go. Well, do we want to, Ron, I know Ron has to bail here because in just a few moments. Is there thoughts, concerns, questions on that?
No, I mean, you and I talked about it, I think, earlier. From what I'm seeing and some of the assumptions you're making, I think it's about the best we can do in this situation, not knowing where we're going to be. I think the approach you took is fine. There's nothing that really sticks out to me that I would alter at this point. I think it might be one of those budgets we have to just look at now, and then 6 months down the road, see where we're at with it, and see if we need to maybe adjust from there. But I think right now, based on what you're working with, I think it's fine from what I'm seeing, and it's about the best that I could hope for based on where we're at.
So one question I have is, if we don't have to pay our property taxes till July 1 instead of June 1, does that mean that any property taxes that we get will be delayed, and will that matter to us?
They'll be delayed some. I don't think that will be a big hindrance for us. There is usually some kind of in the operating fund that, when over the years, even when there's been transfers at the end, there's still been some left there. If it does turn out to be an issue, my understanding, that's what our working cash fund is for.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it is, but if we get to the point where we're getting at the end of June and I'm completely wrong, my assumption would be then I would go, this is the point where you authorize me to take money out of working cash, so then you can authorize me to pay these bills for this month. And then when the taxes come in, we just put it back in working cash. We've never had to touch it since I've been director. I don't know if it has been touched before. Has it, Tammy?
No, not to my knowledge.
You're muted, Tammy.
So, okay, yay working cash.
Guys, I'm going to jump off now, okay?
Thank you, Ron.
All right, Ron.
Tammy, you had said something, but you were muted at the time. when we were talking about working cash?
Sorry. I thought I hit it. I thought once Mark have we used it before?
Not that I can think of.
You don't think so? Okay.
No, I
right.
don't remember.
Okay. Maybe not. I know we've added to it, but I don't know.
I
Because
don't,
we're still not up to our.
I don't think we will. Based on when
We should have our taxes by August. I mean, it's only going to delay what we get by about a month.
Yeah. So we wouldn't be using it to pay June bills. We'd be using it to pay July bills. So as long as it's there by the end of July, I've thought about it, Colleen, but it hasn't struck me as something that's caused me a lot of worry amongst the other things that are lined up to cause me a lot of worry right now. So
Yeah. And I actually, because of working cash, I don't think you need to worry about it.
yeah.
Has
All right.
the
Okay,
county, I'm sorry, Colleen.
No.
Has the county said when they usually disperse them, even or for this year, even though we're a month behind? Do they usually?
Usually when they're due June 1st, we usually get them around the 1st of July.
Okay.
So I'm just assuming since they're due, is it July 1 that they're due? I haven't
I
even.
think so. I believe they said they're going to be due July 1. So presumably they'd, under normal circumstances, they'd disperse them about August 1st, but maybe knowing that it's a change of fiscal year for a lot of people, they'll disperse a week earlier or something.
Well, last year, our second disbursement that we got that, it's due like September 1st or 2nd, and we got that before the end of September last year. So it's just hard to say.
I'm sure we will not be the only institution that will be calling them and asking them those
There's
type
that money.
things. So
They're not even working, are they, right now?
I don't know.
Yeah, I talked to the elections office yesterday.
Oh, are they in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to the tax assessor's office last week, and they were in.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Knowing that the working cash was there if we needed it, I just kind of went with, well, if we need to do that, we'll do that. And then I moved on to the next thing on the list. So I don't think it'll be a big deal, and we have a way to remedy it if it is. So
Okay, good.
Okay, well, it's there if we need it, and hopefully not, but at least we have our cushion. So, so you'll give us an official draft at the next meeting, Gina?
yes, I didn't know if there were any other questions in there.
You had something in there about health insurance for full-time?
Yeah, that was something I do need feedback from everyone kind of on. It doesn't necessarily have to be something like tonight. It's not an action item, but if it's something that the board is interested in, then I can proceed with it. But if the board is not interested in that, then I will not proceed with it either. So.
Okay. And that was in lieu of them getting their bump in pay in July, right? It was like,
yes,
because they won't be getting that, like, let's help them out a little bit. We'll give them this instead until next year and kind of reevaluate where we're at, right?
That was kind of the intent. Yes, they have, and I kind of typed it out the best I could. I'm sorry if it didn't make.
I think I understood it. Yeah, the way you had it.
We have the several employees who are frozen in the new wage scale as well. And I know there was a lot of concern from the board back when that went into place of like, how are we going to still, trying to choose my words here, still recognize and, provide that recognition if we can't alter their wages. And there was some talk about, bonuses at the end of the fiscal year. I don't think it's appropriate under the certain circumstances to be probably doing that. I don't think that's probably a good, I can see where that would be an issue. And then also that there were some, we did have these, this is kind of where we said, well, I'll see what I can do in July, and then we'll look at it again. So that was my creative thought as to how we might be able to still recognize those without actually changing hourly wages at this point, because I don't necessarily know that it is prudent at this time to do that.
Yeah.
Even at the part-time, like some of the part-timers we have to, it's going to be legally mandated. And obviously,
Right.
even if we did some, just the minimum wage ones, and we didn't do some of the other part-timers, they're basically going to be stacked already, where we're trying to keep those wages from compressing at that, so, that was my proposal there on how to kind of address both of those types of employees. I don't know if type is the right word, but we're going to use it.
Okay.
Thoughts from the board on that thing, that proposal, that consideration?
Anybody have any thoughts? Go
Well,
ahead.
I mean, I have no idea how much you're talking about. Well, let's see, the cost is about $75 per employee per month.
What's the question, Colleen?
Well, I'm looking at it again.
Okay.
So we would pick up the $5,850 for those employees.
During that 6 months. That is what they would normally pay in.
My only question was if we would have been able to proceed as we had hoped to in July, like what was the difference between what kind of cost that would have been and what kind of cost the health insurance offset? The roughly 5,000. I mean, how much of a difference are we talking about here?
I had not gotten to the point where I had finalized what I thought we should do.
Okay.
That would have been something I had been working on about this time, but I also went under the presumption that perhaps given the unstable working environment, the unstable financial environment, the fact that we've, it's been weird schedules and things like that, that it was not the appropriate time to adjust wages. So I don't particularly say like, well, if we would have done the thing that we thought we could have maybe done, it would have been this, because I used that other presumption of perhaps that's not the right time to do that, and we should wait. So nothing had been finalized as far as what we were going to attempt to do in July.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea to do that. I think it's a very good idea, just to show the employees, all the employees that that we're looking out for them, and we want them on board, and just as a way of appreciation. Is that what you're referring to, Ellen?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to it at all. I think it's great that everybody at this point, you're not foreseeing having to let anybody go, because there's so many places that are. So I was glad for that for now. I mean, obviously we just don't know what kind of impact there will be down the road, but I thought that was really positive, that at least for now that's not a worry on these people's minds, because that's a worry for a lot of people. So I thought that was good.
And now that I reread it and gotten a better handle on it, I do think it's a good idea.
Well, Gina, what do you have to do then? We don't have to do anything. You'll take care of all that, correct?
Yeah, Gary,
Whatever.
Marilyn, Mark, do you have questions? Are you?
Nope,
Okay.
sounds fine to me.
All right, well, I wanted to get some feedback on it. What I will do is then know that is, kind of the plan, and I will work with, I will see if I can come up with, and I might have like our HR consulting people kind of take a quick look at too. I love them. They are worth every dime, I promise you. As far as here is our policy that this is a temporary thing, and this is how it will play out and work. The other question was the employees that are eligible for insurance but out of insurance. How would the board like me to handle those two employees?
And the question was, we could also, because they're not using it, we can reflect that in pay. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
So essentially, we have, I believe, 15 employees who are eligible. Of all the employees who are eligible for our health insurance, we have 2 who have not traditionally taken it. So in this case, I can't cover their 10% of something they don't take, right? So
Right.
the question to the board is, however, does the board want to pursue and just say, well, they don't take it, it just doesn't affect them in any way. So there's not kind of this 10% rebate or whatever we're going to call it. I'm not really sure what the right word is. Or does the board want to do something where the equivalent is provided to those employees, knowing that it would not be a change in their wage rate, but it would show as a separate compensation income line, whereas the other employees, it's not going to show any difference as far as this just won't be deducted. In the case of those 2 employees, it would basically be like a separate line addition. They'd have, 80 hours times whatever, and then the other would just be like a second line where it's just a lump. So it would be, does that make sense? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tammy, can you explain it better how it appears on there? Because I'm just like, it's a second line.
Well,
I would just add something that says,
no,
it wouldn't be
and we don't
bonus, but
care. Yeah, we don't care how it appears on there.
Mhm.
I think, do we want to do something for those 2 employees? I think that's the bottom line.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we should.
Okay.
And I don't care how it appears on their.
Okay. I just wanted the board to know that for those employees, it's going to appear like, quote, extra income.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if you were to come up and you were to review that stub or whatever, you're like, why are they getting that line? Well, because they don't have insurance, and so there's nothing to not deduct. So many double negatives.
Okay.
I think it should be blanket across the board. I think even, they should receive it also.
Okay. Does anyone disagree with that?
No, I agree.
Okay. I thought the board would probably lean that way, but I also wanted you to be aware of how that shows up,
Okay.
So, okay.
I mean,
go ahead.
in the long run, those 2 people are saving us money. So.
Well, yeah, I recognize that.
I'm kind of like, why not?
I recognize that. Okay. Thank you. I think, is there any other questions about what I had put there from the budget and things like that? There might be a little tweak of, this from collection or that from supplies, some little adjustments, but if there was no need for objections to how it was, knowing what you've provided me with feedback there, I don't expect large changes to the final draft.
No, it looks good.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
And thank you for putting through my thing,
Good.
because I know it's kind of thick, that budget discussion on there.
Well, we had to see it at some point. Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll move along to the action items, of which there is one. Action item 2020-0501, approval of the Fondulac Library participation in non-resident fee program. And we need a motion.
I'll motion.
Okay, and second?
I'll second it.
All right, Gina?
This is something we do annually. The state requires that if we would like to participate in reciprocal borrowing, it requires us to participate in the non-resident fee program. What that generally means, and I'm kind of doing this for Ellen's benefit here because she hasn't seen it before, is if people live in certain places where they're not covered by another library district, they're supposed to go to their closest one. There's rules about that, and purchase a card. So if they live right outside of our limits, but not in the limits of someone else, and the rules said they had to come here, I cannot just, as the library, give them a card because they need to pay on average this amount, because those that live in town don't have the option not to pay their taxes, right? So this is how we figure out that average and determine that cost. In reality, I think there's maybe 6 houses. Somebody just walked by out there. Maybe
Why don't you go look?
6 houses that we could sell to. I don't even know that we normally sell any. Can't check.
That could be creepy.
Yeah.
When you think you're the only one there. I wonder if it's the cleaning person.
Either that or Nick has come into the building or something.
Nick with the long beard.
Yeah, he spent all day there, so I doubt he's back.
Yeah, about the only people we would get would be Groveland.
Okay, all is well.
Cleaning people?
Yeah, but I didn't hear her come in. Which shock, right? For those of you, I don't hear well, so. But no, all's well. I'm safe. It's all good.
So what was the total for the cards this year?
$2.11. It went up a whopping $1.
Ooh.
I know. So yeah, that is, and that is basically rounding up so we don't have to take nickels and dimes, right? We usually charge the minimum, rounded up to the next dollar because it makes my staff happier if they had to, actually sell one. So. Any questions about
Anybody
that?
else have any questions? Okay, all in favor of the approval of the non-resident fee program, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And that's the only action item for this month. And anybody have any closing comments? Well, I guess we will adjourn to the next meeting on June 29th. So need a motion to adjourn.
I move.
Thank you. And second?
Second.
All right. Well, motion adjourned. We are done.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.